hear me?
She was interesting. We had breakfast. We chatted.
Maggie, can you turn it up?
I did.
Can we turn it up? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can it? Raise your hand if you can't hear me. Excellent. You can't hear me, I want a hand. All right. I actually can talk really loud all by myself without the mic, but I wanted to make sure you guys could hear me. We're using some new technology this year that was a little bit more on the cost-effective side. So last year we had somebody volunteer to do audio-visual for us, and it was just for the one room, and so we worked on talk boxes and things to help us be able to talk louder. As most of you who know me, I am plenty loud all by myself. I can take this off and I can be loud if you need me to, but I also have another presentation and a half later today, and I want people to be able to hear me by the end of the day. So I'm trying to use this talk box. You guys mostly know me. Yay. These are my close-up glasses that I can actually see my notes, but I can't see you guys now. Excellent. All right. So most of you guys know me. My name is Gwen Hernandez. I am one of the co-founders of Snarf Rescue, and I have been doing rescue since I was a little teeny tiny girl. I was one of those kids who walked along the road, and I'd pick up the worms off the sidewalk after the rainstorms and put them back in the grass, and gather up the stray puppies, and we would just, I mean, you guys know, I'm in among friends who know what I'm talking about, and I would do whatever I could to like help animals and things like that. Fast forward to when I was about 19 or 20 years old. I lived in Idaho Falls, Idaho. I know some of you guys are here from Snake River. So I lived there, and my mom did rescue, and she worked with Bonneville Humane Society a long time ago. And when I came back from college, I jumped in and started helping with Bonneville Humane Society. And we had a big group of people, and we did adoption events and things like that. So after a while, we had, I'm sure you guys all know, we've had like, everybody doesn't get along all the time. And we decided to start our own group, Humane Society of the Upper Valley, which we started back when I was about 25 years old, so 30 years ago. I am pretty impressed to say that they're still running, even though I've been in the Boise area for over 25 years now. So I'll put this on. I used to foster, got into it doing fostering, helping with adoption centers, and I helped transport. When I moved to Boise, I started having family and started relaxing and doing things a little different. Didn't get into it as much as I used to. Sorry, setting up my phone so I can see what time it is. Don't take all of Arlen's time. Oh, good heavens. So then, after my kids started getting older in their teenage years, I started getting more active in doing animal rescue. I started fostering again, started doing transporting again. And one day, Aubrey, who is the co-founder with me, and I were sitting at an adoption event for a rescue group. We're just sitting there, we were talking. We hadn't even really met much by then. We're just sitting there talking, each holding a dog, and I'm like, we can do this differently. I'm like, yeah, we can do this differently. So that was kind of the start of Snarf. We started talking, and we decided that we wanted to do more with spay-neuter, maybe a little bit less on the adoption side and do more on the education side and spay-neuter, because in my heart, that's where I firmly believe we make the change, is through spay-neuter and education. Hence, Snarf was born. We decided what our most important things were. All right, I'm going to be really loud. Can you all still hear me?
Yes.
All right, so then we decided that we would pick what was most important to us, which was spay, neuter, adopt, rescue, foster. And we decided that that was the way to go. And we put it in the boggle machine, and we came up with Snarf. If you have trouble remembering it, my sister suggested we do a fundraiser called Snarf Till You Bark. So that's kind of what we're going to do one of these days. We're going to do a fun fundraiser. But as we got into it and started working on spay and neuter grants and trying to figure out how to help with education and spay and neuter, we started realizing how many homeless dogs there were and cats there were, and started pulling animals. And So we start pulling them in, bringing them in, and I love fostering. Anyone who knows me knows that I, at any given time, have a ton of fosters. Um, but as we all know, if you're bringing in the fosters and bottle feeding the kittens and you're doing all of that, then you're so intense and putting so much energy out into that sometimes you forget what your original mission was. As my mom used to tell me, if you are up to your ass in alligators, you're not going to get the swamp drained. And we wanted to kind of step back and go back and start doing some more education, doing spay, neuter, and helping with that. So that's kind of why this conference came. Sorry for all the ums. So we're refocusing right now. We're going to do more on education. We want to get this conference up and running and start making it an annual event. Last year we had the Helen Woodward Foundation come and they presented for us and we had such a good time. If you guys didn't make it to the conference or you want to refresh, we have all the videos from it on our Google page, Snarf Rescue, so you can go back and look at them. They're excellent. I would highly recommend going and seeing them if you didn't get to. Make sure you have Kleenex because they're also extreme tearjerkers. So currently what I do for rescue is we run Snarf Rescue. I help with education things. I'm also a transport coordinator, and we help transport animals from mostly Utah, to be really honest, up to Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, Washington, Oregon, wherever we can get them, the rescues will take them and help get them adopted. So that's kind of what I do as a side gig because being an RN full-time working a second job helping to run a rescue is just not enough for me. So we need to run some transports. And that's one of the things that I do. So I was talking about the conference and I was like, do we want to do this? This is a lot. And I said to Julie, I want to do this conference, but I don't know what the heck to do. I don't know if we can get presenters. We kind of felt around and we couldn't find our presenters. And Julie said to me, heck, I can present. And I said, well, thank God, let's present. So she's going to do actually 4 presentations for us today. Her specialty is grants and 501c3s and doing all of that. Then I was trying to figure out what else to do, and I was talking to Monica and Alexis, and they help me with transports with best friends. They're some of my good friends that I work with that I've only met once when I went down to a conference down there. And they said, you know what, call Caitlin. I said, call Caitlin. I haven't met Caitlin yet. So I called Caitlin. I actually sent her an email, and she said, you know what, I'm going to volunteer Autumn and Arlen. I said, oh my goodness, great. We love that. So they got kind of volunteers, but they've been so gracious and so wonderful to work with, and they both talked to me, and they're going to be presenting here as well. And then I thought, you know, this is a huge undertaking. Let's see what other rescues want to help. So I reached out to about a 5-hour circle around Boise, and I said, who wants to help? And I got a lot of people who said, we'll help, we'll do advertising, what do you need? And I said, well, I got speakers kind of nailed down, but then they brought in some other speakers, and then we were like, oh, fosters need something. We need something for basic volunteers and fosters. So we added a whole other panel just for that. So I'm trying to take up some of your time, Arlen, so you don't have to do a full half hour. Then all of this happened, and our keynote speaker fell through. I was like, oh my goodness. So I'm thinking I could present, but who wants to listen to me forever? So Arlen graciously said he'd help me fill some of the time, and I'll introduce him here in a minute. We have today 85 people that registered, 42 different rescues from 5 different states. We have people from Washington, Oregon, Montana, Utah, and Idaho. So we have a huge amount of diversity here, people who are all in this for the same reason that you guys are in this, and that is, of course, rescue, spay, neuter, improving the welfare of everybody. So we've all come together. It's a good group. And I'd like to eventually set this up as being a conference that we do every year that is premier in the area. I've already talked to Jump a little bit and Riverside here about maybe doing some inner things. So we're looking at doing a conference again next year. 35 years ago, when I started into rescue, there were between, depending on what estimates you look at, there were between estimates say anywhere between 12 million and 18 million dogs and cats euthanized every single year. That's 35 years ago. In Idaho Falls, where I lived at the time, we had in the valley a population about 60, 70,000, and there was euthanizations of over 10,000 dogs and cats every year. I mean, that's one for every 5 or 6 people that live in the area. It's huge. It was huge. I am sorry, I'm gonna cry because Idaho Falls is a no-kill city now, and I was instrumental in that in the early days. Sorry, something that makes me really happy. So here I am bawling about it. Anyway, we're moving. Last year, depending on the sources you look at again, there were between 700,000 and just under 1 million euthanizations. So in 35 years, we've gone from 1.5 million euthanizations a month to less than 1 million in the entire year. So we're on track. We're making a difference. I know sometimes it feels like we are drowning in animals, and God bless us, we are. But we are making strides, and we're succeeding, and we're making progress in this. A study done by Best Friends a couple years ago, they sent out a survey and they asked people, are you thinking of getting a pet in the next year? And they had 7 million people that responded, yes, we're thinking about getting a pet next year. If only 6% of those 7 million people went out and adopted instead of getting breeder dogs and all that, we could become a no-kill nation. And that is something well worth striving for. Sometimes no-kill gets a bad rap because people think, oh, we're forcing an agenda, we're doing this. It's well within our reach to attain this. And this is something that we're all here to kind of do. And I know that every single one of you guys wants to be able to see that. I can't do it alone, and neither can any of you. We've got all sorts of people working together. We've got transporters. Raise your hand. Who does transport in here? All right, look at all these people. These people all help transport people, dogs and cats, from higher kill areas to Boise, to Montana, throughout Wyoming, Colorado. They get them out of places where they have higher euthanization rates, and they get them places that are less. Idaho right now sits at 92% survival rate getting out of shelters. Oregon's at 92, Montana's at 94. Can you even believe that? Washington's at 89, and Utah's about 87%. We get a lot of animals out of Utah. We pull them, we help transport. The whole reason for this conference is to get us together to do education and build community. I really want to build community. When I first started in rescue 35 years ago, we had a saying, and please don't anyone take offense, but we had a saying, and it said, spay and neuter your pets. There are enough bitches in rescue. Anyone who's been in rescue long enough knows that sometimes there can be disagreements and squabbling and things that everybody doesn't get along. But you know what? That's okay, because if we all thought the same way, then we would be lost. We wouldn't have the outside things. One of the great things that we did at Pride with an adoption event is we did something called pet condoms. And I'm online looking for stuff to bring to Pride, and I Google condoms, and then I'm like, animals, condoms, stuff to bring to Pride. And this whole thing that San Francisco ASPCA did 12 years ago popped up, and they did these things called pet condoms, and they're little folders that have informational brochures, and you give them out and you say, here's this condom, it's not just for your wiener. It's got a little wiener dog on it. I've got some samples back there. And people stopped and they looked at it and they read it.